I never expected to find my own mother plotting against me in our family home. Yet here I stand frozen in the entryway, my heart thundering against my ribs as their voices drift from the living room. The floorboards creak under my feet despite my careful steps, but Mom and Ethan are too engrossed in their conversation to notice. We'll transfer everything before she realizes, Mom says, her voice rising with that familiar fever-pitch enthusiasm she only gets when discussing Ethan's future. The inheritance, the property rights, it's all going to you. My hand finds the doorframe, steadying myself as the words sink in. Through the gap in the door, I watch my younger brother sprawl across our worn leather sofa, his expression smug as he scrolls through his phone. He barely glances up at Mom, who paces the room with animated gestures, practically glowing with determination. What about Aurora's share? Ethan asks, though his tone suggests he couldn't care less about the answer. She's going to throw a fit when she finds out. Mom waves her hand dismissively. She'll understand that this is for the best. You're the one with real potential, sweetheart. Aurora's just drifting. No direction, no ambition. This money would be wasted on her. The words hit like a physical blow. I press my palm against my mouth, trying to contain the gasp that threatens to escape. The stained glass windows cast afternoon light in fractured patterns across the room, distorting everything in shades of blue and amber. How fitting that even the light in this house refuses to show things as they truly are. Besides, Mom continues, she's too soft, just like her father was, always letting emotions cloud her judgment. Dad. The memory crashes over me. Sunday morning breakfast, age 7, watching Dad collapse mid-sentence, his coffee mug shattering against the kitchen tile. The paramedics couldn't save him. Mom remarried David within 2 years, desperate for stability, and then Ethan came along. Everything changed after that. My vision blurs as I remember David's gentle encouragement when I made the basketball team. The way he'd attend every game while Mom was busy shuttling Ethan to piano lessons. You've got fire in you, kiddo, David would say. Don't let anyone dim that light. But David's gone now too, and Mom's obsession with Ethan has reached new heights. When are you planning to tell her? Ethan asks, finally setting his phone aside. After everything's settled, Mom replies, it'll be easier that way. Clean and simple. I step into the doorway, unable to contain myself any longer. Why wait? I'm right here. Mom whirls around, her face draining of color. Her mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air, the shock of being caught rendering her momentarily speechless. Ethan sits up straighter, his smugness morphing into a dismissive scoff that makes my blood boil. Aurora! Mom's voice shifts into that sickly sweet tone she uses when she's been caught in something unpleasant. We didn't hear you come in, sweetheart. How long have you? Long enough. My voice comes out steadier than I feel, stronger than all the times I've swallowed my hurt before. Long enough to hear you planning to steal my inheritance. That's not. Mom starts, but I cut her off. Don't. The word comes out sharp enough to make her flinch. Don't you dare try to justify this. Ethan stands crossing his arms. Come on, sis. You heard Mom. This is about putting the money where it'll do the most good. You're too emotional to. To what? I step further into the room, my hands trembling but my voice growing stronger with each word. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about every dance recital Mom missed, every achievement dismissed, every time I was made to feel less than. To deserve my fair share, to be treated like an actual member of this family. Mom moves toward me, her hands outstretched in that placating gesture I've grown to hate. Aurora, please try to understand. We're only thinking about what's best for everyone. I back away from her reach, and suddenly I'm alone in the doorway, the space between us charged with decades of hurt and betrayal. Tears burn in my eyes, but there's something else there too, a fire I've kept banked for far too long. My hands clench at my sides as I face the two people who should have loved me best, who instead made an art of making me feel small. The afternoon light streams through the stained glass, painting shadows across the floor between us. In the silence, I can hear the echo of every lie, every manipulation, every moment I doubted my own worth. David's words ring in my ears. Don't let anyone dim that light. 20 years of trying to earn their love. 20 years of watching Ethan get every advantage while I fought for scraps of attention. 20 years of making myself smaller, quieter, less demanding. And for what? To stand here now and discover that even my inheritance, my last connection to Dad, is being stripped away. I lift my chin, meeting Mom's gaze. The weight of this moment presses down on me like a physical thing. I stand at the threshold of a decision that will change everything, stay and fight for what's mine, or walk away and finally free myself from their toxic grip. They're waiting for me to break, to cry, to give in like I always have before. But something has shifted inside me, crystallized by the raw truth of their betrayal laid bare before me. The question isn't whether to fight or walk away. The question is, am I finally ready to shatter every chain they've wrapped around my heart? The old desk drawer groans as I pull it open, sending dust motes dancing in the study's dim evening light. My hands shake as I reach for the hidden compartment David showed me years ago, a secret space behind the bottom drawer, where he kept his most precious documents. You never know when you'll need a safe place, he'd said with that gentle smile of his. How right he was. The family photo that guards the compartment's entrance has faded, the edges curling inward like withered leaves. Behind it, my fingers brush against something stiff in envelope, heavy with the weight of secrets. The family crest gleams dully in the fading light, embossed in gold that's lost its luster. My throat tightens as I unfold the document inside. Legal jargon sprawls across the page in precise lines, but certain phrases leap out like accusations. Sole beneficiary, transfer of assets, Ethan James Rivera. The lawyer's signature and notary stamp stare back at me, transforming suspicion into crushing certainty. Mom didn't just plan to steal my inheritance, Shesh already has. Memories assault me as I sink into David's old leather chair. Mom's dismissive laugh when I made the debate team. The way she'd zone out whenever I spoke about my dreams, her attention snapping back only when Ethan entered the room. His piano recitals commanding her complete devotion while my basketball games played to empty bleachers except for David. Always David, cheering loud enough to fill the whole gym. The sound of the front door opening jolts me from my spiral. Voices drift up from downstairs, Mom's syrupy sweet tone mingling with the higher pitch of Crystal, Ethan's girlfriend. She moved in last month, bringing nothing but designer bags and demands. Aurora? Mom calls out. Is that you up there? I shove the will back into its envelope, my fingers trembling as I return it to its hiding place. Just grabbing something from the study, I call back, proud of how steady my voice sounds despite the storm raging inside me. Well, come down and join us for dinner. Crystal's made her famous pasta. Famous for being store-bought and reheated, maybe. But I paste on a smile as I descend the stairs, the weight of my discovery pressing against my chest like a stone. They're arranged around the dining room table like a twisted Norman Rockwell painting. Mom at the head, beaming at Ethan, who sprawls in his chair with the entitled ease of someone who's never had to fight for anything. Crystal sits beside him, tapping away at her phone, her contribution to family dinner a jar of sauce barely heated through. There you are, sweetheart, Mom says, but her eyes slide past me almost immediately, drawn back to Ethan like a compass finding true north. Ethan was just telling us about his new business venture. Isn't it exciting? I take my usual seat, the chair slightly wobbly, the one David always meant to fix. What venture is that? Real estate development, Ethan says with a smirk. Starting with this place, actually. Once everything's transferred over, I'm thinking of converting it into luxury condos. The pasta turns to ash in my mouth. This is our family home. Times change, sis. Gotta think about the future. He reaches for Crystal's hand, his smile sharp enough to cut. Our future. I think of David's study upstairs, of the hidden will that proves how long this betrayal has been in motion. My hands clench under the table as Mom launches into an enthusiastic discussion of floor plans and property values. Like the memories we built here mean nothing. But they do mean something. To me, to David's memory. I need to make a few calls, I say, standing abruptly. My chair scrapes against the hardwood David's handiwork, the floors he refinished himself one summer while teaching me how to sand with the grain. But you've hardly touched your dinner, Mom protests, that artificial concern coating her words like cheap syrup. Lost my appetite. I head for the stairs, my steps quickening as I pull out my phone. There are people who need to know about this dad's old law partner, my high school basketball coach, who's now a real estate attorney, the friends who've watched Mom's favoritism play out over the years. Behind me, I hear Crystal's staged whisper. She's so dramatic. No wonder you never included her in the planning. Their laughter follows me up the stairs, but it doesn't wound like it used to. Instead, it hardens something inside me resolve that's been building since I first overheard their plotting. In David's study, I close the door and lean against it, breathing in the lingering scent of his old leather chair and the sandalwood diffuser he loved. I won't let them erase you, I whisper to the empty room. I won't let them erase either of us. I open my contacts list and start making calls. Coach Martinez answers on the second ring, her voice as steady and reassuring as when she used to talk me through pregame jitters. Miss Patterson, Dad's old law partner, listens in silence as I explain what I've found, then offers to meet first thing tomorrow. My best friend Sarah, who witnessed countless incidents of Mom's favoritism, promises to help me document everything. With each call, my network grows stronger. These people saw the truth all along saw me when my own family refused to. The next morning, I march into the kitchen where Mom sits alone with her coffee, clutching the will in my trembling hands. Her eyes widen when she sees the envelope, coffee cup freezing halfway to her lips. "We need to talk about this," I say, my voice steadier than my racing heart. "Where did you?" She sets down her cup with a sharp clink. "You had no right to go through private papers." "Private? Like the way you privately planned to cut me out of my inheritance? To give Ethan everything, including this house? You don't understand what's best for this family." Her voice hardens. "If you push this, Aurora, you'll regret it. Think about what you're risking your place here, your relationship with us." "My place?" I laugh, but there's no humor in it. My place has always been on the outside, watching you hand everything to Ethan on a silver platter. But not anymore. "I'm warning you," she says, rising from her chair. "Drop this now, or you'll find yourself completely cut off. No money, no family, nothing. Is that what you want?" I meet her gaze, feeling David's strength flowing through me. What I want is justice, and I'm not alone in this fight anymore. Her face pales as I turn to leave, but I catch something else in her expression too, flicker of fear. She knows I've found my voice, found my allies. What she doesn't know is that Mr. Patterson called back late last night with news that chills me even now. He's discovered evidence of more missing assets, a web of financial manipulation that goes far deeper than just the will. I climb the stairs to David's study, my sanctuary in this storm. Tomorrow, I'll show Mr. Patterson everything I've found. But tonight, I sit in David's chair and let myself feel the full weight of what's coming. The fight ahead will be brutal, but for the first time since I overheard Mom and Ethan's betrayal, I'm ready for it. Let them try to silence me now. I've got fire in me, just like David always said, and it's time to let it burn. The Metropolitan Convention Center blazes with chandeliers and self-importance as I slip through the crowd, a ghost at my own family's gala. Mom stands at the podium in her tailored Chanel suit, commanding the room with practiced ease. My stomach churns as her words drift across the sea of cocktail dresses and designer suits. "The future of our legacy," she announces, her voice carrying that knife-edge sweetness I've grown to dread, "rests in capable hands. My son Ethan has demonstrated the kind of vision and leadership that will guide our family's interests into a new era." Ethan lounges in his chair on stage, thumb sliding across his phone screen even as the crowd applauds. The casual disrespect of it makes my jaw clench. He doesn't even have to pretend to care anymore. Michael Anderson from Channel 7 News Street ebbs forward with his microphone, right on cue. "Mrs. Rivera, there have been rumors of tension regarding the distribution of family assets. Can you address these concerns?" My fingers dig into my palm. Of course she planted this question. Mom never leaves anything to chance. Family transitions can be delicate. She meets my eyes across the room, her smile never wavering. But we must think of the greater good. Some members of the family lack the necessary focus to handle such responsibility. Better to concentrate resources where they'll be most effective. The crowd murmurs in agreement. I watch their heads nodding. These strangers so easily convinced that I'm the problem. That I'm the one who needs to be managed, contained, controlled. Ethan finally looks up from his phone. "Mom's always taught me that power comes with responsibility," he says, his voice carrying that practiced humility that makes my skin crawl. I take the family's legacy seriously. Unlike some people, I don't let emotions cloud my judgment. My father's words echo in my head. Asterisk. "You've got fire in you, kiddo. Don't let anyone dim that light. Asterisk." The memory carries me through the convention center's marble halls and into the community center across town. Here, away from the glitter and pretense, real people gather to discuss neighborhood revitalization. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows, but there's more honesty in this worn linoleum than in all of Mom's crystal chandeliers. Mom's already commandeered the town hall meeting, of course. She stands at the front in the same Chanel suit, spinning promises about community investment that will somehow, inevitably, end up benefiting Ethan's latest venture. "The Rivera family has always believed in giving back," she's saying, and something inside me finally snaps. Is that what you call it? My voice cuts through the room, stronger than I knew it could be. Heads turn, conversations halt, and Mom's perfectly composed mask slips for just a fraction of a second. Aurora, dear, she starts, but I'm already moving toward the front of the room. Giving back? My laugh sounds foreign to my own ears. Let's talk about taking. Let's talk about how you've taken every opportunity, every advantage, every scrap of support, and funneled it all to Ethan. Let's talk about how you've spent years convincing every, including me, that I'm not worth investing in. This isn't the time or place. Mom's voice has an edge now, a warning. It's exactly the time and place. Tears burn in my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. These people deserve to know who they're really dealing with. A woman who would steal her own daughter's inheritance. Who would? You're proving my point about letting emotions cloud your judgment. Mom's words are precise, calculated to cut. But this time, they don't land. This time, I feel the years of pain and self-doubt transforming into something else, something with teeth. My emotions aren't clouding anything, I say, my voice steady despite the thunder of my heart. They're finally letting me see clearly. You can't gaslight me anymore, Mom. You can't make me doubt myself. Not when I have proof of what you're planning. The room has gone completely still. In the harsh fluorescent light, I watch Mom's carefully constructed facade begin to crack. She opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again, but for once, she has no words to smooth this over. And in that moment, standing in this humble community center with my truth finally spoken aloud, I feel the first real stirring of power. Not the kind that comes from designer suits or media manipulation, but something deeper. Something that's been waiting inside me all along, like banked embers finally catching flame. Back in Dad's study, I trace my fingers across his old desk. The room still holds echoes of him engineering books, lined up precisely on the shelves, his vintage desk lamp casting a warm glow across photographs I'd almost forgotten. Me at my first basketball game, Dad beaming with pride. The last Christmas we had together, before everything changed. The confrontation at the community center replays in my mind, but this time I feel something different stirring beneath the anger and hurt. Strength. Purpose. The desk calendar becomes my war room map as I plot out the next steps. Legal research, financial audits, outreach to old alleys, each item carefully noted and cross-referenced. My hands don't shake anymore as I draft emails to Dad's former colleagues, people who've watched me grow up and might remember a different version of our family history. The old family photos spread across the desk aren't just memories now, they're evidence. Each one tells a story of systematic exclusion, of opportunities denied, of Ethan's gradual elevation at my expense. The storm outside matches my intensity as I work late into the night at First National Bank, poring over archived documents. My heart nearly stops when I find it a forgotten safe deposit box containing a contract I've never seen before. The legal language is dense, but one clause stands out with crystal clarity, a provision that could unravel Mom's entire plan. Lightning flashes outside as I dial Cynthia Ramirez, my trusted legal advisor. You need to see this, I tell her, my voice barely containing my excitement. I think I found our way in. The thunder rolls as I stare out at the rain-slicked streets, the contract clutched to my chest. The question isn't if I'll use this newfound advantage, it's how. And for the first time since this battle began, I feel the odds shifting in my favor. The Rivera Family Foundation Gala buzzes with artificial warmth, a sea of designer dresses and practiced smiles that used to feel like home. Now I see the cracks in every facade, the hollow performative charity that Mom cultivated for years. My black cocktail dress feels like armor as I wade through clusters of Seattle's elite, dropping carefully crafted hints like poisoned breadcrumbs. Oh, you hadn't heard about the donation discrepancies? I keep my voice low, intimate, as I lean closer to Margaret Chen, chair of 3 different charity boards. Her eyebrows lift slightly, the only tell in her Botoxed face. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about, though the timing of those transfers was interesting. I drift away before she can press for details, but I catch her immediately pulling out her phone. The murmurs will spread like wildfire. They always do in these circles. Across the glittering ballroom, I spot Cynthia Ramirez, my razor-sharp lawyer, discreetly passing folders to selected journalists. Her red stilettos click against the marble floor with quiet authority. When our eyes meet, she gives me the slightest nod. Phase 1. Complete. The champagne burns my throat as I take a measured sip, watching Mom work the room with Ethan trailing in her wake. Her coral dress matches the flush rising in her cheeks as she notices the shifted energy, the way conversations pause when she approaches, the subtle withdrawals that leave her grasping at empty air. My phone vibrates. Michael Anderson's message lights up the screen. Ready when you are. I check my watch. 20 minutes until his speech. Already I can see Mom's carefully constructed world beginning to fray at the edges. Ethan's face is glued to his phone, no doubt watching the first wave of social media posts questioning his suspiciously padded resume and the foundation's murky finances. Aurora. The voice behind me belongs to Professor Caldwell, my old mentor from UW. His weathered face holds a mixture of concern and determination. Are you sure about this? I think of the forged documents hidden in my clutch, the years of systematic financial abuse disguised as maternal concern. They left me no choice. The microphone squeals with feedback as Michael takes the stage. Mom's head snaps up, her smile faltering as she realizes this isn't the usual fawning introduction she's grown accustomed to. I lean against a marble pillar, steadying myself for what comes next. Good evening, everyone. Michael's voice carries clear and strong. I'd like to discuss some concerning findings regarding the Rivera Family Foundation's financial practices over the past decade. The room goes still. I watch Mom's face drain of color as Michael methodically lists off every manipulation, every fraudulent transfer, every instance of financial abuse she thought she'd buried. Ethan's phone slips from his trembling fingers, clattering against his champagne glass. This is outrageous! Mom's voice rises above the growing murmurs, shrill with desperation. She practically runs to the stage, snatching the microphone. These accusations are completely unfounded. Aurora is simply jealous of her brother's success. Is she? Professor Caldwell's voice cuts through the chaos. He steps forward, commanding attention with his distinguished presence. I watched you sabotage your daughter's academic career to funnel more resources to your son. I have documentation of scholarships mysteriously redirected, of opportunities blocked. The floodgates open. Other voices join in, each with their own story of witnessed manipulation. Mom's grip on the microphone turns white-knuckled as her perfectly curated image crumbles in real time. My phone buzzes again. Cynthia's email glows urgent on the screen. I step onto the terrace, the cool night air a sharp contrast to the heated revelations inside. The city skyline sparkles below, indifferent to the implosion of my family's legacy. The attachment opens slowly, each second an eternity. When the document finally loads, my breath catches in my throat. This isn't just evidence of Mom's financial abuse, it's proof of criminal fraud. The original version of David's will, unaltered, showing his intent for an equal split between Ethan and me. Beside it, Mom's clumsily forged version that cut me out entirely. Cynthia's message blinks beneath the damning evidence. If we act now, Linda could face legal repercussions. The choice is yours. I stare at the Seattle skyline, the weight of this final weapon heavy in my hands. Behind me, I can hear Mom's voice rising in increasingly desperate justifications. The foundation of her power is already cracking. One more push could shatter it completely. The question isn't whether to use this evidence. The question is, when will it hurt her most? The downtown Civic Center looms before me, its polished marble columns casting long shadows in the afternoon sun. Through the glass doors, I spot Mom at the podium, her designer blazer, a slash of crimson, against the wood paneling. My pulse quickens as I check my phone one last time. Michael Anderson's message confirms he's ready to live stream everything. I push through the doors, and the murmur of voices washes over me. The conference hall is packed with community leaders, journalists, and familiar faces from Mom's social circle. Ethan sprawls on a leather sofa near the podium, his attention fixed on his phone as usual. Neither of them notice me yet. The contractual stipulations are quite clear. Mom announces, her voice carrying that familiar note of authority that used to make me shrink. Any attempts to contest the distribution of assets will be met with immediate legal from our team of... You mean the legal team that helped you forge Dad's signature? My voice cuts through the room like a blade. Mom's hand freezes mid-gesture. Ethan's head snaps up, phone forgotten. The crowd parts as I stride forward, my heels clicking against the marble floor. The stack of documents in my briefcase feels heavy with truth. Aurora. Mom's smile is brittle. This isn't the time or place for family discussions. Actually, it's exactly the right time and place. I set my briefcase on the podium beside her, maintaining eye contact as I click it open. Since you're so eager to discuss legal matters, Ethan rises from the sofa, his earlier smugness curdling into something darker. Sis, you're embarrassing yourself. Just leave before. Before what? I withdraw the first document, the signed affidavit from Thomas Chen, our former family lawyer. Before I show everyone how you and Mom doctored Dad's will. The paper trembles slightly in my hand, but my voice remains steady. Or maybe before I reveal the backdated property transfers, the hidden accounts. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Phone cameras rise like a wave. From the corner of my eye, I spot Michael's live stream setup, his camera trained on Mom's rapidly paling face. These are baseless accusations, Mom sputters, reaching for the affidavit. I pull it away, my movements deliberate. Everything I'm saying is documented. I face the crowd, drawing strength from their rapt attention. I have bank records spanning 10 years, witness testimonies, audio recordings of my mother and brother planning to divert my inheritance me father's legacy through a series of fraudulent transfers. You ungrateful little, Ethan starts forward, but Mom grabs his arm, her knuckles white. I've spent months building this case, I continue, my voice growing stronger with each word. Working with financial investigators, legal experts, even members of this community who witnessed years of manipulation and favoritism. Today, I'm not just reclaiming my inheritance. I'm reclaiming my voice. The room buzzes with whispers and the rapid-fire clicks of cameras. Mom's carefully crafted image of the devoted family matriarch crumbles visibly. I see it in the way her shoulders cave, in how her perfectly manicured hand trembles as she reaches for the podium. Aurora, please, she whispers, but the microphone catches it anyway. We can discuss this privately, as a family. Family? The word tastes bitter. Was it family when you told Ethan I was too emotional, too soft to handle my own inheritance? Was it family when you planned to strip away everything Dad left me while I stood in the doorway, listening to you plot against me? Tears burn in my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Not here. Not now. The stained glass windows of the conference hall cast fractured light across the floor between us, so similar to that day in our living room. But this time, I'm not frozen in shock. This time, I'm not backing down. Miss Rivera, Michael Anderson steps forward, his camera still rolling. Would you be willing to share more details about these allegations? I meet Mom's gaze one last time, seeing the desperation there, the silent plea to protect the family's reputation. For a moment, I'm 7 years old again, watching her sweep away the shards of Dad's coffee mug, erasing all evidence of that terrible morning. But I'm not that helpless child anymore. Yes, I tell Michael, opening my briefcase wider. I think it's time everyone knew the truth. In the front row, Cynthia Ramirez, my attorney, nods encouragingly. The documents we've gathered together over months of painstaking work lie before me, each page a brick in the wall of evidence we've built. As I begin to speak, I watch Mom and Ethan exchange glances, their empire of lies crumbling in real time. The truth, as they say, will set you free. But first, it burns. 2 weeks later, I stand in the Central District Court, my heart hammering against my ribs as Judge Marshall reviews the final pieces of evidence. Cynthia's presentation has been masterful, methodically dismantling every counter-argument Mom's lawyers attempted to construct. Given the overwhelming evidence presented, Judge Marshall's voice fills the courtroom. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Aurora Rivera. The attempted transfer of assets is hereby nullified, and all inherited properties are to be returned to their rightful owner immediately. The gallery erupts in muffled cheers. I exhale slowly, years of tension finally releasing from my shoulders. Mom sits rigid in her chair, her face a mask of disbelief. Ethan's already storming out the back door, his footsteps echoing through the courthouse. Outside, the afternoon sun bathes the courthouse steps in golden light. A crowd has gathered friends, supporters, even some distant relatives who finally saw through Mom's manipulation. Their cheers wash over me as I step into the light. Aurora! Someone thrusts a microphone forward. How does it feel to finally achieve justice? I pause, considering my words carefully. This isn't just about justice for me. It's about standing up to toxic family dynamics that too many people suffer in silence. Sometimes the hardest battles are fought against the people who should love us most. As the crowd disperses, I catch a glimpse of movement in the shadowed alley beside the courthouse. Mom and Ethan huddle together, their heads bent close in whispered conversation. Their eyes track me with a familiar calculation that sends a chill down my spine. I turn away, squaring my shoulders as I descend the courthouse steps. Let them plot, let them scheme. I've already won the war they started, and whatever comes next, I'll face it standing tall. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting golden paths across bamboo floors. I breathe in the crisp morning air from my balcony, letting the steam from my coffee cup warm my face. No more tiptoeing through shadowed hallways or bracing for acidic comments over breakfast. This space is mine, every carefully chosen piece of furniture, every splash of color on the walls, every moment of silence or sound entirely under my control. I trace my fingers along the framed photograph of David on my entry table, his proud smile frozen in time as he stands beside my younger self at a basketball game. You were right, I whisper, adjusting the vintage basketball beneath it, signatures faded but still visible. The fire was always there. The morning light catches the crystal vase he gave me for my 16th birthday, sending rainbow prisms dancing across the walls. Each carefully chosen piece in my apartment tells a story of survival, of reclaiming what was mine. The city pulses below my window, a rhythm so different from the suffocating quiet of the family estate. I grab my leather Jaquita recent splurge that would have earned Mom's disapproval and head out, ready to embrace the morning. The boulevard stretches before me, lined with local shops and cafes where familiar faces greet me with genuine warmth. No hidden agendas, no subtle barbs wrapped in saccharine smiles. I pause before a sprawling mural that spans the side of the community center. A phoenix rises from swirling flames, its wings spread wide against an urban sky. The artist captured something raw and true in those eyes of defiance that speaks to the warrior in my soul. I've stared at this mural countless times over the past months, watching as its meaning shifted from aspiration to reflection. My fingers reach out to touch the rough brick, feeling the texture of transformation beneath my skin. Later, the community center hums with quiet energy as friends and chosen family gather in the warmth of string lights and honest laughter. Crystal chandeliers cast soft shadows across faces that have become more precious to me than blood ties ever were. Cynthia raises her glass, her attorney's precision softened by genuine affection. To Aurora, she says, who reminded us that strength isn't about who can hurt the most, but who can heal the strongest. Michael Anderson catches my eye from across the room, nodding slightly. The journalist who helped expose the truth now feels more like a brother than the one who shared my blood. Your story, he says quietly when I join him, it's helping others find their voice. He gestures to the small crowd gathered around, use each person here, representing a thread in the tapestry of support that helped me rebuild my life. As if summoned by his words, Jasmine appears at my elbow, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Can we talk? She asks, twisting her hands together. It's about my mom. She breaks off, but I recognize the shadow in her expression, the way her shoulders curve inward like mine used to. I guide her to a quiet corner, our heads bent together in conspiracy. The fairy lights cast a protective glow around us as I share the wisdom born from my own battles. Start from the beginning, I tell her, my voice steady with the certainty of someone who's walked through fire and emerged stronger. I'm listening. In her trembling hands and wavering voice, I see my past self, and in my ability to help her, I see how far I've come. The setting sun paints the highway in shades of amber, and promise as I drive home, my restored '67 Mustang purring beneath me. A now hiring sign glows at the construction site where I've been consulting, its bold letters a beacon of opportunity. The last rays of daylight catch my rearview mirror, and for a moment I glimpse a fading billboard in the distance, the family estate looking more like a mausoleum than a home. Each mile marker triggers a memory, the breakfast that changed everything, the hidden documents, the final confrontation that shattered their control. Mom's face when she realized she'd lost her power over me. Ethan's stunned silence as his carefully constructed world of privilege crumbled. But these memories don't sting anymore. They're just chapters in a story I've survived, stepping stones that led me here. The road stretches ahead, endless with possibility. Something builds in my chest, not the old, familiar ache of betrayal, but something lighter, something that feels like freedom, like future, like flight. The engine roars as I accelerate, leaving the shadows of the past in my wake. What bold new heights await? The question hangs in the air like a challenge, like a promise, like a phoenix's first taste of open sky.